I'm Debbie Klughers, host of Keepin It Green. We're at the Ronald Reagan building an international trade center in beautiful Washington, D.C. And we are at the 11th National Conference on Science, Policy, and the Environment. It's sponsored by the National Council for Science and the Environment, and this year's theme is Our Changing Oceans. We're going to go inside and we're going to interview as many people as we can, find out what they think the problems are facing the oceans, what the solutions are, and what you, as the viewing audience, can do to help out. You're also going to see some of the lectures that are given by some of the most amazing, talented, and brilliant scientists that our planet has to offer you. And the outcome of the conference will hopefully influence decision makers, policy makers, and the general public in order to find ways to help out the oceans. So I hope you guys enjoy the show, and come on, let's go check it out.
Facility, which again is a research program conducted on the scale.
This is a 3-day event, and we are going to try to speak with as many people as we can to try to find out what they feel are the most pressing issues facing the oceans, what they feel the solutions are, and what the general public can do to help. So let's check out what everybody has to say. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
My name is Delia. I'm the Dean of the School of the Coast and Environment at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm also a professor there, and I've been in the marine sciences for my whole professional life. And you asked me what I think the major challenges for the oceans. Well, the biggest thing I'm concerned about are two things, actually. I'll give you two things I'm really worried about. The first is the acidification of the oceans by the addition of carbon dioxide. It's a sort of a sleeper of an issue most people don't understand, and most people don't care about, and most people don't know about. But in my view, it is one that has very unknown consequences and for which we're not adequately prepared to make good, solid predictions. But I don't like the trends, and I don't like where we're headed. The other thing I'm very worried about is overfishing. We are really going into terra incognita in that, unknown territory. We are overfishing many species so much. 2/3 of the ocean is overexploited in terms of fisheries. And we have really got to worry about this problem. Many people in the world require ocean-based protein for their very existence. It's an incredibly important source of protein. Yet at the same time, they are outrageously irresponsible in the way they harvest the oceans. So this is something we really have to worry about. And why do we have to worry about it? Because we're now a world with 7 billion people in it, almost. When I was born, and I know I'm an old guy, but I'm not that old, there were 1/3 the number of people that there are on the planet now. So all these people want to live at the highest standard of living. They want to use energy at the level the U.S. uses energy. They want to have fish out of the sea. Like Spain or Japan, they want to just live at a level that, in my view, is going to be very difficult to sustain. So these are the biggest issues for the ocean. So what can we do? These are formidable challenges. My whole life, we have been worrying about these things. And I remember as an undergraduate, when Paul Ehrlich produced that wonderful book called The Population. And it was very controversial at the time, but he said that eventually we were going to run the risk of running out of resources. I think we're getting to that stage. There was another famous book called Limits to Growth. Very controversial book, but Limits to Growth said that right about now, according to their model that they use, a mathematical model, that we would start to run into trouble with the fundamental requirements that we had for sustaining our society. Water, food, natural resources, precious metals, so on and so forth. And darn, if we're not seeing commodities drive up and things like that right now, I wonder if maybe we've headed too far. Now I know I sound radical, and I'm not proposing that we take radical action, but I am proposing that we take action. We're going to need to balance our need for energy, for example, and our need for natural resources with our conservation ethic that we have to develop. So what is the key to all this? It's an aware public. And I think that if your viewership sees this and are interested in these issues, they can make a difference, because they need to get educated and they need to become aware of what the problems are.
And what can they do on a personal level?
On a personal level, they can educate themselves. That's the most important thing they can do. They can really try to understand the problems, and they need to think very critically, because everybody that is out there has some sort of a solution, but some solutions are more facile than others. Some are good solutions, and some are what I call dissolutions, or not really good solutions. They are not going to solve the problems. They're only going to dig us in deeper. Some of the things that sound logical aren't necessarily that logical. For example, fuel from biomass, which is often touted as the way out of our problems, has some real substantial problems associated with it. So in some senses, we're going to have to rely on our traditional sources of energy. I don't want to see our economy collapse because we've acted so abruptly that everything falls apart. But on the other hand, we've got to make a transition to something else, because what we have now is not sustainable.
Thank you.
Is that helpful?
Wonderful.
I'm Laura Savory from the University of Southern Maine. I work in the WISE Laboratory of Genetic and Environmental Toxicology. And what we've been looking at today at the conference is finding out about how our oceans can be full of persistent and bioaccumulative chemicals. And we have looked at these chemicals in specifically sperm whales, and we are finding that the sperm whales have, even in pristine environments, have high levels. Other researchers have found this also. And these flame retardants are in a lot of our regular furniture, electronics, our computers. People are around it all day long in their household desks. We're finding it in breast milk and around our homes. And to just have the public become aware of these chemicals and other persistent chemicals that are infiltrating our environment, just the education would be wonderful.
What can the average person do, in your opinion, to help stop the problem? Or
well, right now, the government is becoming aware of this, and they have quit the DECA BDEs, which are one source of the flame retardants. But there is still one company that is mass producing these chemicals. And the reason why we have these flame retardants is to protect our families. They are important, but just to become aware of the high levels that are in our children and in my children and in our families, just the education.
Lynn Scarlett, Resources for the Future, here in Washington, D.C. The oceans and coasts face enormous challenges, but probably the single greatest challenge are the effects of a changing climate, because those effects cascade across so many different dimensions. We see the sea acidifying, we see coral reefs affected, we see sea marshes actually transforming as sea level rises. So those effects of a changing climate, I think, are probably the single biggest challenge that we face as a nation. What do we do about it? Well, probably that too poses challenges, because we have a nation of fragmented agencies, many jurisdictions that need to somehow come together, and our governing structures really don't allow for that coordination very readily and very easily. What can the public do? You know, the oceans and coasts we sometimes think of as only affecting those that are right by the oceans, but in fact they affect the nation. You throw a plastic cup in the street, it goes into the sewers, down the stormwater system, and out eventually to the ocean, contributing to ocean debris. your daily life and the energy choices you make actually contribute to greenhouse gases potentially, and thereby affect that big problem of climate change. So we all have a role in this, from scientists to policymakers to citizens.
Hi, my name is Todd Capps, and I'm with the CETHOS Foundation. And I believe, and we believe as an organization, that two of the most important problems in facing the oceans are pollution, which is a very broad term, but particularly plastics, and something that we're working on to raise awareness, and also illegal fishing, particularly in certain regions in the Asian countries. And we believe very strongly that the key first step, not the only step, toward a solution is raising public awareness. As soon as people start to get on board and think about these things on a daily basis and realize that no matter where you live, inland or coastal, we are all connected to and affected by the health of the oceans. And it's everyone's responsibility, and we need everyone to get involved. So that's step one toward any solution.
Ellen Jonk, Executive Director, San Francisco Bay Planning Coalition, consortium of maritime industry, property owners, and bay users in San Francisco Bay Delta region. I think the biggest problem facing the ocean is the need for industry that is the biggest provider of goods and services to the public around the world. That industry and environmental issues are creatures that traverse the ocean need to get together in greater harmony and balance. There needs to be greater collaboration. The problem is that there's often confrontation, but there doesn't have to be. For centuries, we've seen industry and transportation do a good job by the environment. There's some issues that we have to take care of. We still have oil spills, but fortunately not frequently, but we have them. We need to, industry needs to be paying closer attention to being environmental stewards in the ocean and ensuring that accidents don't happen and that we take care of our creatures that inhabit the crucible of our life. My solution to the problem, which I work at in San Francisco Bay, is to foster greater collaboration amongst all the participating parties, from government to industry, and I am very optimistic for the future for that collaboration and partnership.
And what do you think the general public can do to help out?
I think the general public can be, greater aware, more aware by reading of what industry is doing to take care of the environment, to be environmental stewards. I think they can check on the websites for any of the shippers, the ports, all have great, very expansive environmental steward programs to clean up the air, to build wetlands with material drenched from the navigation channels. And I think the public should check out those websites and see what a good job industry is doing and help support them.
My name is Katie Arkema, and I'm with the Natural Capital Project at Stanford University. And I think the biggest problem facing the ocean is that we don't understand conflicts among different uses of the ocean, like oil and gas, like fishing, like tourism and recreation. So I think one of the things that we really need to do to solve this problem is to be able to begin to think the way we do on land, but in the ocean. So begin to think about how we can allow different uses in different places, try to think about the ways they can complement each other, and how we can all use the ocean to benefit the things that we need and that we care about. And so what you can do is talk to people in your community, understand how their livelihoods, how their well-being depends upon the ocean, and work together to be able to use it in a complementary way.
My name is Karen Buchanan. I'm from Canada, and I'm here with my college for the Oceans Conference. We actually brought a poster about blue energy. Essentially, I think the greatest problem facing the oceans is the fact that it's not protected. No one's doing anything. Pretty much people can just fish whenever they want. There's oil spills. I feel like there's no regulations. No one's doing anything about these problems. I just feel like more land should be not privatized, but protected, so that not everyone can just go out and do whatever they want. I know right now it's less than 1%, and the ocean is such a huge part of our world. I just feel like more of it should be protected. They should at least get it to 10% and then just work up from there. And that's all.
What do you think the general public can do to help out?
General public, I think they should just talk, like kind of get the word out, because no one's really talking about it. I feel like there's so many other issues, like even with land conservation, that no one's thinking about the oceans. So I just think like getting it into legislation, maybe people getting together and rallying and getting it to like higher public.
Hi, my name is Kira Nugis. I work with the American Meteorological Society, the education program. We're here at NCSE, the 11th annual meeting in Washington, D.C. The biggest issue facing the ocean is really, I think, a lack of understanding of the problems that we're all facing right now. A lack of understanding of the influence of the ocean. And I think the way to solve that is really by educating teachers and by educating their students and developing curriculum that really focuses on the future of the oceans and what we can do to protect it and what we can do to further educate the public to make responsible decisions.
Hi, my name is Todd Capps, and I'm with the Cethos Foundation. And I believe, and we believe as an organization, that two of the most important problems in facing the oceans are pollution, which is a very broad term, but particularly plastics, and something that we're working on to raise awareness, and also illegal fishing, particularly in certain regions in the Asian countries. And we believe very strongly that the key first step, not the only step, toward a solution is raising public awareness. As soon as people start to get on board and think about these things on a daily basis and realize that no matter where you live, inland or coastal, we are all connected to and affected by the health of the oceans. And it's everyone's responsibility, and we need everyone to get involved. So that's step one toward any solution.
Hello, I'm Chris Friel, and I'm with an organization called Esri. And Esri makes mapping software, and for the last 30 years we've been supporting the coastal and ocean community by providing tools for integrating all this great information that's starting to be gathered about the oceans and coastal systems. One of the biggest challenges about coastal and ocean systems is that we don't know a lot about these precious systems, and we're in a foot race to learn more about them before they become extinct.